Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hello everyone, Namaste. In the sixth video on Sankhya Yoga, we try to understand some of the one-liner references. In this video, we will explore furthermore. The references on the screen now. Vitaraga bhayakrotah sitadhir muniruchyate kurmonganiva sarvasyaha indriyāṇi pramāthīni haranti prasabhaṁ manaḥ vasehi yasyendriyāṇi tasya prajñā pratisthita kāmāt krodho bhijāyate buddhināsāt pranasyate vāyurnāvam ivambhasi. Now the one-liners in detail. First one, vitaraga bhayakrodha sthitadhir muniruchyate. A person who is completely free from attachment, fear and anger is called a sage of stabilized intellect. Arjuna in his query to Bhagavan wanted to know as to what does a person of steady intellect think and talk about. Krishna says that a sage of stabilized intellect is completely free from attachment, fear and anger. Also he would stay unperturbed by adversity and does not crave pleasures. Having overcome ignorance and delusion, he would stay away from worldly attachments. A person who doesn't crave transitory sensual experiences would not be affected by resultant pairs of opposites too. Attachment to a person or to an object leads to fear at the possibility of loss, and anger is an accompanying modification in the mind. An enlightened person realizes the illusory nature of everything external. It makes him stay unperturbed for any enticement or occurrence. Thus he would remain in perpetual communion with the self within. The next reference, kurmonganiva sarvasyaha. As a tortoise withdraws its limbs into the shell for protection from harm, an enlightened sage, like everyone else, would come in contact with sense objects. However, he uses his discriminating faculty to stay detached. He would withdraw his senses from the sense objects. He does it the way a tortoise withdraws its limbs into the shell, sensing calamity. How does he do it? He does it because he is experiencing far greater happiness whenever he withdraws just in his own self. He would stay in communion with the Supreme Being within, where he would remain in perpetual bliss. Whereas the happiness derived from external gratifications is transitory, the end result of which would be unhappiness, discontentment, or sorrow. Every one of us has the ability to control senses. We also restrain our temptations when we go for shopping. However, we do it not because we don't want it. We do it out of some constraints. It is not detachment in our case, it is a constraint. If we are having enough resources, we might go on a shopping spree, whereas an enlightened person doesn't find the very need within him. He would stay desire-free, having no preferences, no likes, no dislikes, no happiness, no unhappiness, no friend, no enemy, and so on. His knowledge about the essential nature of attractions makes him achieve this. Thus, he would experience the immanent presence of Supreme Being in and out everywhere. The next reference, indriyāṇi pramāthīni haranti prasabhaṁ manaḥ. Restless senses forcibly carry away the mind of even a person of discerning. This reference points to the state of a person who is striving for perfection or who is a sadhaka. For someone who is in the path of enlightenment or who is striving to achieve stabilized intellect, it is indispensable for him to master control over senses, because experience of touch, sight, hearing, taste and smell are potentially enticing. Unless we achieve control over them, they will carry away our mind. They are like daylight robbers who can rob even an alert gunman. Hence, one should stay alert from sensory attractions to save himself from rising desires. Every worldly gratification is unreal. The happiness we get from relishing a great dish is temporary. The high spirits that one experiences out of intoxication is fallacious and dangerous. The joy we derive from so-called entertainment is momentary. Name and fame in external world is subjective. Possessions and ownership is pure illusory. Attachment and relationship is a mere delusion. Understanding the essential nature of all such externalities will make a person to be alert when senses try to divert his tranquility. Bhagavan indicates here the potentially dangerous nature of senses which could forcibly carry away the mind of even a person of discerning. Hence, common people who are in the worldly pursuits should learn to control sensory organs and mind so that they can see less pain in life. The next reference, Vasehi yasya indriyāṇi tasya prajñā pratisthita. One's intellect becomes steady when one's senses are under complete control. One who learns to control senses would be able to achieve steady intellect. Once senses are in control, mind will remain quiet. Quiet mind will help in uninterrupted communion. Perpetual communion will lead to enlightenment. A person who reaches such a transcendental state would experience eternal happiness during all the three states of consciousness, that is, waking, dreaming, and deep sleep. Control over senses is equally challenging for wise and ignorant. Before we snatch a mobile from a child's hand, we offer him something unique. Similarly, we should practice to love something more eternal so that these transitory enticements would not take us into their fold. Man has developed desire to love, value, earn, and depend on unreal things in life. Being unreal, those things would go away from him or would not deliver desired happiness. Surprisingly, like a soldier who doesn't lose his spirit to fight despite being heavily injured, men would go after things that deliver unhappiness. The soldier would emerge to be the winner whether he dies in the war or he wins the war. As a martyr, he earns invaluable respect not only from his people but scores of others. Whereas we who fight the life like a fighter will have nothing ever to be respected for. Pain, pleasure, and respect, dishonor, everything is unreal. They are subject to change any moment. Then what should we do? We should learn to love the most eternal thing in life so that even if we become zero in worldly context, still we will stay happy. Because the eternal Krishna, by his name, by his Leela, by his teachings, would bless us with pure eternal bliss. Thus, we will achieve control over senses when we learn to take shelter under him, the primordial Almighty, Bhagavan Krishna. The next reference, Kamat krodho abhijayate. Kamat krodho abhijayate. Anger comes from unfulfilled desires. If the message of this reference and the one on the next screen, buddhinasat pranasyati, is practiced by us in strict adherence, we will achieve in due course everything else that has been taught in Bhagavad Gita. Desire is the root cause for human suffering. This message takes us to that root cause so that we can protect ourselves before undue attachment and desire soar up in our daily life. We should have imprint of this message in our mind and on the walls at our place. Have it on our business card too. Teach our child the moment he starts uttering words. Remind to ourselves perpetually. We will emerge dearer to Krishna himself when we follow this message. What else could be the purpose of birth than gaining the love and blessings of Bhagavan Krishna? This reference together with the next one points to the vicious circle in our life which constitutes thought of a sense object, attachment, desire, anger, delusion, loss of reasoning, intellection, self-ruin. The message warns us that the very thought of a worldly object or worldly experience can develop attachment. An intense attachment will turn into a desire. An unfulfilled desire will lead to anger. Anger would result in delusion, and the mind is bewildered by delusion. Reasoning, that is, intellection, is destroyed when the mind is bewildered. One falls from right path when reasoning is destroyed. Such a person will lose competency, trustworthiness, and respectability in the community. This is the vicious circle that is experienced by us in daily life. Unfortunately, it can happen in waking, dream, and in deep sleep condition too. It keeps us awake, snatching our sleep moments too. Today, we have many sources like advertisements and more to tantalize us towards rising thoughts, the very root cause for our fall from right path. Here is where we need to learn control of sensory organs through right reasoning and stay cautious from any modifications in mind. The sense objects touch, sight, hearing, taste, and smell are potentially enticing unless we apply discrimination on what we are seeing, what we are hearing, what we are tasting. Growing infatuation to touch experiences would ruin even the most wisest men as we find in the world. We should learn to not to be carried away towards excessive pursuits of happiness. When we go unduly after worldly pursuits, we forego peace in life. It would lead to erosion of decisive capacity. We should relate this with indriyāṇi pramāthīni haranti prasabhaṁ manaḥ, which was discussed in previous screen. The golden letters of learning would be worldly experiences are unreal and experience of self within can only give eternal happiness. The next reference, Vayur Namo Mivambhasi, as a storm takes away a boat on the sea from its destination. The mind, when controlled by the roving senses, steals away the intellect as a storm takes away a boat on the sea from its destination, the spiritual shore of peace and happiness. This points to the vigor of sensory organs which can control mind or hijack mind to satisfy their urges. A sage who is in ascetic sadhana may get carried away by the beauty of a woman. It indicates that one should achieve control over mind and sensory organs equally in order to have uninterrupted sadhana in the path of enlightenment. We are made to suffer so much in worldly life purely because of our inability to control mind and sensual urges. We can achieve this with higher knowledge about birth, sustenance, and death. Bhagavad Gita teaches us such a transcendental knowledge, knowing which we can experience eternal bliss while living the worldly life. This concludes our understanding on one-liner references. Now we see on the screen some of the chosen verses from Sankhya Yoga. I will read them now. We will understand the meaning in detail in separate videos. The verses: Kutasva kasmalamidam vishame samupastitam anarajushtamasvargyam akirtikarmarjuna Klebyam masmagama partha naitatvayupapajyate Shudram hrodaya dorbalyam chaktvottishta parantapa Karpanya doshopahata svabhavaha pruchami tvam dharma sammudha chetaha Yashreyasya nishitam bruhi tanme sishyasteham syadhimam tvam prapannam Natvevaham jatunasam natvam neme janadhipa nachaiva na bhavishyamaha sarve vayamatah param Matra sparsastu kaunteya sitoshna sukhadukkada agamapaino nitya tam stititshasva bharata Nasato vijate bhavo na bhavo vijate satah ubhayorapi drushtontastu anyo stvatvadarsibihi Antavantu ime deha nityasyokta saririnaha anasino prameyasya tasmajujjasva bharata Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityuh dhruvam janma mrutasya cha tasmada pariharyarthe natvam sochitum arhasi Dehi nityam avajyoyam dehe sarvasya bharata tasmad sarvani bhutani natvam sochitum arhasi Sukha dukkhe same krutva labha labho jaya jayo tato yuddhaya yujyasva naivam papam avapsyasi Karmanyeva adhikaraste ma faleshu kadachana ma karma falaheturbhu ma te sangostva karmani Apuryamāṇamachala pratishtam samudram apaha pravisyanti yadvad tadvat kamayam pravisyanti sarve sasanti mapnoti na kama kami Vihaya kamanyas sarvan pumams charati nispruhaha nirmamo nirahankaraha sasanti madigacchati With this, our brief understanding on Sankhya Yoga ends. We will meet in our next video on Karma Yoga, Chapter 3. Hope you have liked the videos on Gita as of now. please let me know your thoughts or questions in the comments below. I will try to answer them in the spirit of Bhagavad Gita. Let us remember the sacred words. Bhagavad Gita is the ultimate spiritual practice. Let us resolve to learn and understand Bhagavad Gita and get closer to attaining the heights of spirituality. Om Krishna.